And I think Graham Mertz is more than capable of going out here against Georgia and going 30 for 40, something like that, with 350 passing yards. Whew. Get your popcorn, get you a snack for this one, because it's going to be a controversial take, to say the least. I smell an upset brewing, or maybe I don't. Maybe I do. I guess you'll have to find out in this video. It is time to do the Week 9. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth, but the Week 9 preview. Unfortunately, the team you either love the most or hate the most, Alabama, they have a bye week, so we won't be talking about them. However, though, the show must go on, and there's still plenty other great games that are going to happen on Saturday. And I'm going to tell you this straight up. I guarantee there's going to be about 2 or 3 games we don't expect to be good, and they come down to the wire. Hey, man, I don't make the rules. That's how the sport operates. But hold on. What is this comment on one of the recent videos? First off, the username is Matt B. Stinkin', and I'm pretty sure that profile pic is me in an Ohio State Buckeyes hat. So that's just messed up, number one, but this comment says, Ohio State is winning Natty this year, so yeah, that just confirms it. That is me in an Ohio State hat. Greatest team of all time, Ryan Day is better than Saban. But check out the hashtag. Hashtag Matt gets railed by alright, bruh. I'm going to ask you a genuine question, Matt B. Well, I'm not even saying that username. It says I'm talking to myself. I'm going to ask you a serious question. Is there something wrong with you? Not even sure what this comment is from Rancidity. And by the way, wait a minute. Doesn't Rancidity already have a strike? I'm pretty sure old buddy here's got a strike. 3 strikes in your band. But getting on track here, he put hashtag Matt doesn't respect boundaries. I'm confused. What are you talking about, dude? Here's a good comment though from White Randy Goat, a good username by the way. As a Bama fan, I've been so genuinely impressed with the coaching staff after a Texas game. Hashtag Matt be goated. You see? That's a nice comment. You know what? I said we ended off with that nice White Randy comment, and let's get into the Week 9 preview. Don't act brand new around here. You know we like to start things off with our 11 a.m. games first. And at 11 a.m., I think this game could be sneakily, is that even a word? We're going to use it, sneakily good. We got the Seminoles versus Wake Forest. I'm going to keep it a Fortnite V-Buck with you. This game's going to go one or two ways. Either A, Florida State completely mops the floor with them, or B, it's a close one, like a 3-point game. I will not be picking the upset in this game. Give me the Seminoles by 20. Also at 11 a.m., this could be a sneaky good game. We got the Sooners coming off of that close one against UCF versus Kansas. They're only 9-point favorites. I think that UCF game is going to re-energize and have these players refocus up a little bit in Oklahoma. They're just going to completely demolish Kansas. Anytime you got a great team like Oklahoma coming off of a close win against a team they should dominate, the following week they just completely hit all the nails on the head and they go out there and win big. I see Oklahoma winning that with ease. That's it for our 11 a.m. games. We don't have too many to go over. Let's talk about our 2:30 games. Starting it out hot at 2:30, we got 5-2 BYU versus 6-1 Texas. This is an exciting game for one reason and one reason only. Quinn Ewers is not playing. We saw it last week. Texas, they struggled with Houston on the road, and I wouldn't be shocked if they struggle with BYU. BYU's not a bad team. Although Texas is favored by 19 points in this game, I think that's way too much with their backup quarterback. Sure, if Quinn Ewers was playing, I could understand the 19 points, but with their backup Malik Murphy, no. I'd say they should only be about a 14-point favorite. Let's not overhype BYU. They're a decent team, but none too special. They lost to TCU 2 weeks ago by 30 points. That's embarrassing, but in the following week, they beat a decent Texas Tech team. I think BYU's going to come in this game and play like they got nothing to lose, and as much as I want to pick the upset, I'm not going to. I think Texas with their backup quarterback, they're going to be locked in and they're going to be focused, similar to Oklahoma. These players saw it last week. They were very close to losing that game to Houston. I expect these Texas players to step up in a big way and pick up the missing pieces, and they win this one by about 10 points. I do think it will be close, and BYU maybe could pull off the upset if they force some turnovers, but that's the X factor. If you can force Malik Murphy to have some interceptions, to maybe have a fumble, a scoop and score, BYU, they can win this game. But like I said, give me Texas by 10. Moving along here to our other 2:30 game, we got a top 15 matchup that I low-key forgot about. We got Utah to Utes. I love this team. And then we got old Bo Nix in Oregon. I love this Utah team for 3 different reasons. They're physical, they get more out of their players than anybody else, and they just win games. Actually, I'll throw in a 4th reason. They have a good defense, and in 2023, I love seeing a good defense. That's going to be something to pay attention to, that high-powered Oregon offense with Bo Nix up against that Utah defense. And I guess this is the upset week for your boy Matt, and I'm going to call it. I got Utah upsetting Oregon. I think Utah's riding on the highest of highs, and Oregon, yeah, they don't have negative momentum, but Utah, they're just hitting on all cylinders. And what has persuaded me to take Utah in this game is we saw it against USC. Their offense is starting to pick it up a little bit. Granted, I know you're going to say, well, Matt, Utah did that against a terrible USC defense, and I understand. But I do expect Utah's offense to put up points on Oregon's defense because Oregon's defense is not that good. They're decent, I'll give them that, but they don't scare me. They don't petrify me. And another key reason why I'm picking Utah to win this game is because this is a home game. People that aren't familiar with Utah in the Pac-12 don't understand this, but a home game for Utah is similar to an SEC game. They have an SEC environment at home. That place is going to be rocking. I'm going to take Utah in this ball game 31-24. I see their defense stepping up and stopping Bo Nix a couple of times, and who knows, maybe they get a pick six, help the offense out a little bit. And on the flip side for Utah, like I said, I expect them to put up points on offense as well when they have the ball. I definitely think it's going to be a good game no matter what the outcome is. At 2:30 as well, we got another top 20 matchup. We got the Dukies and Louisville. What about that? Louisville's been a shocker in the ACC. I guess you could say I'm picking the upset here because Louisville is a 4.5 point favorite. Give me the Dukies. I like this Duke team with or without Riley Leonard. I see him winning this game. But now finally, moving on to what I'm going to label as the main game, the main topic, the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video. We got Florida, the Gators, and the Georgia Bulldogs. Woo! Get your popcorn, get your snack for this one because it's going to be a controversial take to say the least. At 2:30, the CBS game of the week. Dun, 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 dun. All right, that was corny, but you know the music. It just, dude, when I hear that music on a Saturday, it gets me feeling some type of way because it gives you the fall vibe, 60 degrees and sunny outside. I just love that music. But anyway, seriously, getting up. Matt, shut the crap up, Lockie. On a serious note, we got the Gators in Florida at 2:30. Oh my goodness. Matt, you freaking idiot. Did I just say we got the Gators in Florida? We got the Gators and the Bulldogs. Sorry. I'm getting all discombobulated here, but we get Georgia. They are 7-0 versus Florida, who has been decent this year. They're 5-2. For Georgia, there's nothing to be said. They've been the best team in the country, 7-0. That's all there is to it. But for Florida, there's been a lot of ups, and there's also been a lot of downs. For starters, they lost their first game of the year against Utah, and it really wasn't close, but looking back at it now, that wasn't a bad loss. Utah's a really solid team. But after that game, they have been 5-1, and although they're 5-1 and that's all fine and dandy, it has been mind-boggling to evaluate them because that one loss was so pitiful against Kentucky. They lost 33-14 to a Kentucky team that is just simply not that good. That was a head-scratcher, man. Like I said, a lot of ups and a lot of downs this year because, okay, that was the lowest of lows, right? Well, then you beat a solid Tennessee team 29-16. And then most recently, 2 weeks ago, they had a bye week last week. They beat South Kakalaki 41-39. And I know South Carolina, they're not having a good year, but they're not a bad team by any means. Their record says otherwise, but in all their close games, they've lost them. My point is with Florida, they've been up and down. And heading into this game, it looks like David versus Goliath. But here's one thing I need y'all guys to understand. This is a big-time rival game in the SEC East. And we all know this. It doesn't matter if you're an SEC fan, a Big 12 fan, ACC fan, Pac-12, or Big 10 fan. When you have rival games, anything can happen. Throw the records out the window. There's bad blood, and these players are going to give their A+ effort. Rival games, they are different, and I'll leave it at that. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And anytime I go to preview and predict a game like this in which you have a top dog in Georgia, the #1 team in the country, versus an unranked team, I always look for this. Where does Florida have the advantage over Georgia? What does Florida do that is just as good as Georgia, if not better? And last but not least, here's the thing I look for the most. Does Florida, in this case and scenario, match up good against Georgia? And the answer to that question is yes. I'll explain why Florida matches up really good with Georgia compared to other teams. Remember a couple weeks ago, Kentucky was undefeated and everybody's like, oh, this is a big time game against Georgia. And I told you guys I'm not doing a preview. My preview was 10 seconds long. I said Georgia's going to kill them like they do every year. And, well, that's exactly what happened. And the reason for that is because you can't make this up. I said it word for word. It's documented on the channel. Kentucky matches up poorly against Georgia. Why do they match up poorly against Georgia? It's relatively simple. Kentucky wants to run the ball and play good defense, and that just feeds into Georgia's hand. You can't beat Georgia if you want to depend on your running game. It's not going to happen, and it won't happen. But, and I have a big but, you can beat Georgia if you pass the ball a lot and your quarterback has a great game. We've seen it time after time. Look at two of the past couple quarterbacks that have beat this Georgia team. Mac Jones, baller, and Bryce Young, baller. The recipe to beating Georgia, by the way, this is much easier said than done, is to have great quarterback play. And I think you know where I'm going with this, and I already know some people are going to say, Matt, are you trying to convince me that Graham Mertz is going to play like Bryce Young? And just hear me out. Let's take a look at some cold hard facts. These are undisputed. You can't argue with me. They're facts. Florida on the year is averaging 280 passing yards per game. That's pretty dang good. On the ground, they're only averaging about 141 yards per game. That's not too good, but it shows you they want to pass the ball. That's where Florida is going to get the bulk of their yards, through the air. So we can check that off number one. Florida, they will pass the ball more than they run the ball against Georgia, whereas heading into the Kentucky and Georgia game was that, yeah, Kentucky's going to try to run the ball and it's not going to work, and that's what happened. Well, let's take a look at this, shall we? Graham Mertz, the quarterback in this game for Florida, has quietly had a really good year. And he's not getting any recognition because he plays for Florida, and the perception of Florida is they're not that good. But on the year, he has 1,900 passing yards. That's good. 12 touchdowns, solid, to only 2 interceptions. Taking care of the ball, I like that. And a QBR of 69.3. Let's take a look at this, why not, though. Let's look at Graham Mertz against number 11th ranked Tennessee. This was a big-time game, and in this game, Graham Mertz was 19 for 24, only 5 incompletions, nearly 200 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 0 INTs, QBR of 94.7. Not too bad at all. And let's even look at what he did against Kentucky. Same thing. He only had 5 incompletions. Granted, one of those was an interception, but he also had 2 touchdowns. I get they lost the game by 20 points, but that wasn't a bad performance. And then most recently against South Carolina, this really opened my eyes. Florida wins this game 41-39, but Graham Mertz goes 30 for 48, 423 passing yards with 3 touchdowns to 0 INTs. What about that? And I didn't show you the Vanderbilt one because it's Vandy. Well, why not? I'll just bring it up right here anyways. Against Vanderbilt, he was 30 for 36. Yet again, flawless, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 INTs. All those stats I just showed you are in Graham Mertz's last 4 out of 5 games. I'm not showing you the game against the FCS school because it's irrelevant. My point in showing you all of that is I think it's more than fair to say that Graham Mertz has had a pretty good season. And I think Graham Mertz is more than capable of going out here against Georgia and going 30 for 40, something like that, with 350 passing yards. Because let's be honest, that's what it's going to take. Graham Mertz is the X factor. He has to play a flawless game, dang near perfect. He has to do something like a 30 for 40, maybe a 35 for 50 type of night. He's got to have 350 pass yards, maybe 400 potentially. And I know that sounds crazy, yet again, much easier said than done, but that's what he's going to have to do for Florida to win this game. Now, with that being said, the one thing that does concern me about this Florida team isn't the offense. I think they're going to put up points. It's the defense. They looked atrocious against South Carolina, and they haven't looked good all year long. I'll give them slightly above average. That's really the benefit of the doubt. In my humble opinion, I see this being a high-scoring game, and it could be a shootout. But whoa, hold on. I haven't even brought this up. This might be the most important part. This is a crazy stat, but Georgia this year, they're 7-0, and they've only played 1 true road game outside the Vanderbilt game, and come on, we can't count Vandy. But even at that, it wasn't like the Vandy game was a walk in the park. They only won by 17 points and gave up 20 points to Vandy. It's Vandy, though. It's really a guaranteed win. It's almost like a free bye week. But the 1 true road game Georgia played this year, you know where it was at. You probably remember it. At Auburn. And in this game, Georgia, they struggled and was fortunate to pull away at the end 27-20. So although this Georgia and Florida game is not a true road game, it's not a home game. And we've seen it this year at Vandy, at Auburn. Georgia's a different team when they're not playing in their home stadium. It's college football, man. You got to expect the unexpected. I see potentially Georgia coming out here and having a fumble or 2, or maybe Carson Beck throws an interception or 2. You never know. I think Georgia is due for a game like they had last year against Missouri. I think Graham Mertz goes out here, plays a game of his life, and Georgia makes 1 too many mistakes. And for that reason alone, I got Florida, the Gators, pulling the upset. I'm calling it right now. Florida and Graham Mertz win this game 41-34. 41-34, mark it down. You heard it here first. And I already know what everybody's saying. Matt's being delusional again. Matt's off his rocker. And just hear me out and hear me out. There's no such thing as a bad take in college football because there's going to be plenty of upsets. Let me ask you a question. Last week, if I would have predicted Virginia to beat North Carolina, what would y'all have said? Oh, Matt's crazy, man. What is he talking about? Virginia's 1-5. They're awful. And guess what happened? Virginia beat North Carolina. Look, man, I'm going to keep it a Fortnite V-Buck with you. The only way Florida wins this game is if, number 1, Georgia messes up and plays their D+ game or C- game, and Florida plays their A+ game. In reality, Georgia should win this game. I'm not hiding from the fact that Georgia's the better team. We all know they're the better team. But at the end of the day, the better team in college football doesn't always win. I feel an upset, and for that reason alone, that's why I got to call it. Give me the Gators in this one, 41-34. Moving along here, though, to our night games, we got Tennessee and Kentucky. This is going to be a good one. Tennessee is currently a 3.5-point favorite, and I want to keep this one short and simple. I think Kentucky's going to run on this Tennessee defense, but at the end of the day, I think Tennessee's offense is way too much. Give me Tennessee in this one by about 10 to 14 points. Wouldn't be shocked, though, if Kentucky pulls out the upset. At 6:30, I guess I'll talk about this one. We got the Little Bro, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. Wisconsin's overrated. Ohio State wins this one by 17 points. In a conversation. And last but not least, our super late night game, and I hope this is a good one. Dude, the past couple of weekends, the 9 o'clock games for the Pac-12, they've been amazing. At 9:30, we got Arizona versus DJ Ugabadoogie in Oregon State. Oregon State is a 3-point favorite, and Arizona, they've been rolling. Do I call it? You know what? Another upset. I got Arizona pulling the upset. They beat Oregon State. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is the Week 9 preview and predictions. I'm curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But, Robert.